What's going on, everyone? It's Alex here from Alex Physio. Today we're going to be going over tensor bandaging an ankle after an ankle sprain. Welcome. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Alexander Kravich. I'm a physiotherapist in Vancouver, British Columbia, and today we're going to be going over how to use and apply a tensor bandage for an ankle sprain. So if you've seen any of my previous shorts, you would have known that I had a grade 1 ankle sprain that I sustained. And one of the things that we can do to try to help with some of the swelling, subsequently helping with some of the pain control and the overall recovery, is to use something called a tensor bandage. And the premise of the tensor bandage is we're basically trying to drive this swelling up from the bottom of our foot, up back to our heart, to basically try to filter and flush out some of that fluid and that inflammation and that swelling that has built up as a consequence of sustaining that ankle sprain. So what this is going to look like is we always want to try, when we apply the tensor bandage, that we're not taping or we're not applying the tensor bandage over, we're going under. And this allows you to have, what do I mean by that? This allows you to basically have more control in terms of how you're applying the tensor bandage. So not this way, because then it just becomes a little bit more awkward. You want to start in the reverse pattern. And you want to make sure that when you're applying a tensor bandage that you're going about 50% of tension. So you're not trying to pull it as tight as you can, about 50%, and trying to apply more tension on the bottom of the foot and less as you get closer to the top, to really try to compress those structures and get that swelling down. Okay, so we're going to start off by, we're going to start at the top of the foot. Okay. And we're going to go under. We're trying to do diagonal patterns, so you're not going parallel, and we're trying to make sure that there's no wrinkles in the area. So going out those diagonal patterns. Again, just putting 50% of that tension, crossing over. Obviously a little bit more challenging to do it on your own versus if someone else does it, just because of the positioning, but nonetheless, going around, under, cover those wrinkles, up high, and then even when you're crossing up to the start, and you don't want to go fully parallel, you want to have going at a diagonal. Ideally you want to try to finish about lower 1/3 of your calf, and you don't want the parallel, because you don't want to get what's called a tourniquet effect, and that can sometimes just restrict the blood flow a little bit more than what you would anticipate. And then you can just put it here, tuck it underneath for a moment while I grab this tape. And the reason why I'm using tape, some of these tensor bandages, they used to, and I don't know if they still do, but they come with those little hooks, like the little teeth that allow you to anchor it. I'm not a big fan of those because of the fact that obviously if people have poor sensation, or just if they injured any of the nerves during the ankle sprain, then that can irritate the skin sometimes and increase the risk of infection, albeit low. So I'd rather just use tape. It doesn't have to be athletic tape, it can be any kind of tape, just to try to help anchor that in place so that it doesn't fall off. There you have it. This is our tensor job. We don't need to get much around the heel, because we don't get a lot of swelling around that area generally. A quick cap refill test is just applying pressure on the bottom of my toe and just checking how that blood flow return is to make sure that it's not too tight. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit slower because my feet are just generally cold, but it doesn't feel, there's no throbbing. I can feel my pulses as well, the top of my foot, and also behind my medial malleolus as well, just to make sure I got good blood flow. That's good, I can feel the pulses. Those are just quick checks that you can do to make sure that's not too tight. And then this is especially apparent in the first few days as you're trying to help improve the swelling, because obviously the swelling is going to be highest right after the injury, up to a few days. You can wear this tensor brace on, or tensor bandage on, apply it on and off throughout the day for the first couple of days. Having your leg elevated, ideally above your heart, with the tensor bandage also helps, again, just to try to flush out some of that swelling to try to stimulate that healing. So there you have it. We went over how to apply a tensor bandage after an ankle sprain. Have you sprained your ankle recently, or have you had ankle sprains in the past? Have you used these tensor bandages or not? Let me know down below how your experience has been and whether or not it's helped. If you found value in this video, please consider checking out some of my other videos. I have over 500 videos on various physio, exercise, and medical related topics. If you still find value, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really allows my channel to grow and allows me to reach a wider audience. Until then, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.